Now, women with breast cancer are being put at risk because there aren't enough staff who can deliver specialist scans. This is according to the Society of Radiographers, which is warning a shortage of NHS mammographers in England is causing late diagnosis and treatment delays.
Yes, it says the reduced workforce has reached critical levels, with the latest vacancy rates for screen mammographers in England standing at 17.5%. Symptomatic mammographers who scan women who find a lump in their breast or have a family history of breast cancer have a vacancy rate in England of almost 20%.
Now, in response to the figures, the charity Breast Cancer Now says staff shortages are contributing to delays in people with breast cancer receiving a diagnosis and accessing life-changing treatments that could give them the best chance of survival. We're joined now by Melanie Sturtevant, who's Associate Director of Policy at Breast Cancer Now. Good morning to you, Melanie. Thank you very much for joining us here on Breakfast. What is life like for a mammographer at this moment in time? A day in the life of?
So a day in the life of a mammographer at the moment in the NHS will be a very busy day. Mammography is really, really important in the diagnosis of breast cancer. I mean, as I think you said, there are two main ways in which women are diagnosed with breast cancer, and mammography is used in both of them. So women can be diagnosed through the NHS breast screening programme, which uses mammography, or they're diagnosed through noticing an unusual change in their breasts, getting it checked out by their GP and being referred for specialist assessment. And mammography is normally used as part of that assessment as well. And we know that, for example, there have been backlogs in screening as part of the NHS breast screening programme because of the pandemic. And we've got, very large numbers of women being referred by their GP for those specialist assessments. So mammographers are incredibly busy.
How long does each appointment take, each scan take?
So the actual mammogram itself shouldn't take very long. But what we do know is that women are waiting quite a long time in some cases to actually have a mammogram when they're being referred for specialist assessment. We hear from women at Breast Cancer Now who are experiencing those delays in getting these tests, getting a diagnosis and starting their treatment. And we can see that coming through in the data that's published as well on cancer waiting times.
Melanie, good morning to you. It's Charlie here in the studio. Do you have any more detail on those waiting times? What are some of the further ends of that story you've heard in terms of how long people have had to wait?
So, for example, in England, there is a standard called the Faster Diagnosis Standard, which says that from the point at which you're urgently referred with possible symptoms of breast cancer, you should receive an outcome. So being told that you either have breast cancer or you have the all clear within 28 days. And there is an expectation which has been set by NHS England that 90% of people should receive that outcome within 28 days. That's not being consistently met. There is also a 62-day standard from being urgently referred with possible symptoms of breast cancer to starting treatment. There's an 85% target for that, and that's not been hit for some time.
Yeah, and so that 28 days, for example, what stories are you hearing in terms of how long people are actually having to wait? Because that's the aspiration.
Yeah, that is the aspiration. And as I said, it's not being consistently met. So there are some people who are being referred with possible symptoms of breast cancer who are having to wait a lot longer than that. And the other thing that we are seeing as well is a gap in the proportion of women who are being told that they don't have breast cancer within 28 days and the proportion of women who are being told that they do have breast cancer within 28 days, because it is easier to rule breast cancer out than it is to diagnose it. So there are fewer women as a percentage being told they have breast cancer within those 28 days.
Melanie, it's easier, I think, to assess the impact of this delay on the patient, because when a woman goes because she has a lump, she's taken time to see her GP, and then there's time to wait for the referral and to get the mammogram. But what impact is this having on those who are having to deliver the news or who are seeing these women who are now extremely worried because they've waited so long?
Yes, so at Breast Cancer Now, we do also hear from NHS staff who are diagnosing and treating breast cancer patients about the staff shortages that they're experiencing and the impact that it's having on them and the care that they're able to provide to patients. And I have to say, NHS staff are working extremely hard to diagnose and treat patients for breast cancer. None of them want to be in a position where they can't do that as quickly as they would like to do.
Melanie Sturtevant, Associate Director of Policy at Breast Cancer Now, thank you for your time with us here on BBC Breakfast.
Thank you.